No more swear words. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's the weekly gathering of the INE Network and our blogging, I don't know what we call it, show. If you're over on YouTube, welcome. Love to have you participate with us. And our film strip's always full every week. And we do a show on Wednesday night. And then we do another more of a just visiting get-together to try and encourage us each to blog and figure out how to make that work as an income producer. And we're not doing a whole lot even yet, but we are getting a little more savvy all the time about what we are doing. And so welcome to all of you tonight. We've got Deb's here from Pennsylvania, Jay's here from Oklahoma, Joan's here from Florida, Mel's here from Carolinas, North Carolina, right? Yeah. I can't remember. Those two damn states mess my brain up all the time. And Nick's here from Minnesota, and Rod's here from Kansas, and Ron's here from Florida. And when Ron Schneeberger's on, it's time to start. We just kind of wait till he gets on the show and he's here, so ready to roll. I wanted to tell everybody tonight, after the show last night, I went on and checked my analytics. And I'm going to have them part of the show next week to kind of show you what's happening. I have had, in the last 30, it's not quite a full month cycle yet either, I've had 292 views of the shows that we've done. So if you say, well, 292, now the minute cycle's what's really amazing, because most of us get on with the show and we stay with it for at least an hour and a half. So my minutes of view time on YouTube is really high for the number of people that are actually participating, which I think is good stuff, personally. I don't know how they measure it all as far as what they care about, but what I care about is that gradual viewing number of people that are participating. I had 2 new people buy Opportunity Intersection yesterday off the web, and I just got their emails and stuff, contact information tonight, this afternoon, so I'm going to be interacting with both of them to find out how they found it and how they're beginning to participate. And I'm pretty sure that both of them came from what we do here. Now, as we figured out, we're working really hard on, Ron's got a book in process that he's going to try and craft and put together. And then I called the university today and double-checked all of my stuff's in place. So when I get an order, all I have to do is call or email them now. And we've almost got it set up to where they will put the videos in the books and do the mailing for me. And so having it so easy would mean that any of you could print through that same source. Now the real advantage is it costs a little more to quick print it that way, but then we don't have to go print 3,000 or 1,000 books at one time until we find out if we've got something. And the really advantage in all of the marketing of ideas and concepts of what you know how to do, this how-to marketplace with an ebook is just amazing. Super productive, because you get to test it without having much costs up front and find out if you've got a concept or an idea that actually works. And so ultimately I want to have every master in the INE network have a book that is their book, subject of what they've learned and what they have to share with counsel of the brand new person, and then put it into a short little booklet, and then we'll print a paper copy with the university and test it that way, and then we'll also test it with an e-form. And then the very next thing I'd like to do is show you how I did my video production to go with it, because a book needs to be now not only an e-book and a printed paper copy, but you also need to do it in a video format. Everything is moving that way quickly. And so a live video interaction with you then begins to build your name and reputation. Just the fact that you've wrote and published a book adds to the credibility of you a great deal. And I think we need to gradually help each one of us get that same kind of tool. Now, I've been writing Fun Money for quite a while, and I still don't have it done. I get tired of working on it. I've hit it so hard for such a long time, it gets to be kind of a pain in the butt. And I got a great idea. Guys, I was at Walmart getting Joe's medicine a couple of days ago, and right there by the register they had this whole rack of fast medicines, over-the-counter fast medicines, and one's for a sore throat, and one's for a tummy ache, and one's for a headache, and one's for pain in your muscles. And they had about 6 different pills, little sets of pills you could buy, just a little teeny packet off. So when the pharmacist came up, I said, "Hey, I'm looking for one on there. I need a pill for the pain in my butt." And she started to laugh. And all the customers that were around me right at the time says, "Oh, hey, I need one of those too." And so I'm gonna think about doing. We actually in the family own an American Express card. And what did Chris put on that thing? It was for numbnuts. It's a numbnut American Express card. And we use it for rather unusual occasions. And Chris gets teased about it every time he calls American Express and he needs someone to help him with the account. And he brings it up. They go, "That's the most novel American Express card that we have ever issued." But I told him, I says, what we want to do is as a numbnut American Express card that you give your kids and grandkids, because it doesn't work. They just have the card, but it will not charge. You can't charge anything. I says maybe they'll get the idea. But I'm going to play around with the idea of doing a pain in your butt. Everybody needs a pill that will help you with that problem. It's husband and wife usually that causes that kind of problem. So we'll see how that one works in the long run. Now, just for the fun of it, because all that is a thought of the moment, by now most of you know that that kind of a thought goes in my journal. And I let it cook. Because invariably the idea is not on the money yet. It's just a thought. All it is that 2-bit little whisper. But as I play with those kinds of ideas, and because I cross paths with them from time to time again, every time that idea comes up from another angle in my regular living, I start paying attention to the potential of that little whisper, because I don't know to begin with. What I showed everybody our new collet design. Where did I put it? Here. I want to bring it back up so you guys can all maybe see this new little collet design. Lance is trying to craft a brand new collet for the high-speed handpiece, and this is a really, really small part with some incredibly small slices in it, and all made out of stainless steel. And to be able to have my son gradually learn to do this stuff, to go from where we were in the beginning days to what we're messing with now, is a whole nother level of productivity. And yet, I don't know how you get there unless you're willing to kind of incubate it, to play with it, to continue to try and develop your own knowledge and your own skills of things that are in and around your subject. I've had a lot of fun. Lance Larson is here from Arizona taking classes with Craig and Robin. And Saturday he'll have his last class, and I've already told him I'm coming over with the camera. We're going to record his testimony of what it was like to be here with him. And by Saturday he's going to be just flying. What he's doing already is starting to be really good. And now is an extremely good time for us to nudge his career and help pull him up a little bit further. And I told him what Lance is doing now is moving up on what I look for, and when I start to consider giving you a master's title, is that something you've done that then begins to kind of define who you are. And that something is your own thing. It's kind of how you do things. It's pretty easy to recognize in our circle Nick's kind of artwork, because Nick does things pretty much the same way most of the time. Mel does his things in a similar kind of fashion. Ron has a similar kind of look to what he's doing. And I watch for that, and then I and try and encourage that, because that, once you put your foot in the sands of time, your footprint on the sands of time, you could be famous and recognized and remembered for what you came up with that no one else had thought of yet. And if you can uncover that little ace in the deck, I'm going to live on now from just the eggshell carving in the power pen. Such an unbelievable, unlikely, weird combination, and yet all I've done is stay on it. I can very easily say that if I have the choice, no one else is bugging me, no one else needs my time, I've got a whole day off, I'm likely to end up carving an eggshell. Even still, after all these years, 38 years of playing with that idea, I still love it. I just love it to death. And when I have a chance to see, I can't walk past a design, a new unique design, and not think that belongs on an eggshell. It's just who Lou Jensen is. And it's what I've played with for this long period of my life. But Mel's kind of in the same category. He's played with most of his life with stainless steel and stainless steel fabricating. And he's a design wizard. Worked for NASA, worked for the military all of his life. And I would bet when you see a design or a new pattern, doesn't it light up an idea for a new piece of jewelry, Mel? Come on and comment, you turkey. Open up your microphone and say yes. I told them that you would say, and so now you got to say yes.
I do.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, we don't tell everybody where the designs for his other jewelry come from.
They come out of the air.
Come out of the thin air.
Yeah, the space between my ears.
But they do come to you, don't they?
Yeah, I'd start out with a blank page and start doodling.
And it shows up.
And it shows up.
And can't you sense it's good?
Oh, yeah. If it doesn't look good on paper, I won't make it.
Yeah. You can sort it out, literally sort it out in your imagination and playing between. Now, one of the discussions we had yesterday is really neat. I don't know if I mentioned it last night, but I think I did. From the moment that something's virtual reality and only in your mind, and the second you start to pull that thought into reality, there's a pinpoint where it's right smack in between virtual reality and reality. And I think that's an amazing moment in your life when it's not real yet, it's just imaginary. But now in creativity and artistic efforts, we get to pull our ideas and our thinking over here into the reality side of things. And I think that's way cool. That's not a thought that I've paid a lot of attention to in my life. One of the most unique thoughts I ever had was when Wayne Dyer suggested that the space between your thinking is where God exists. And there's a space between your thoughts. And most philosophical people would say that if you can clear your mind of everything, literally think of nothing, that's where you begin to approach eternity. And I go, well, I don't know a whole lot about that kind of thing, except it feels like there's perhaps something to that. The fact that our ideas come to us, I sit and think, God, they come from somewhere, somehow, don't they? Where do you get your good ideas, Deb?
Ideas from words, photographs that I take.
Yeah.
Things that I see.
You have triggers that you kind of depend on, that you know that you need something new, so you can kind of jog something.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, working with the cow things, I'm always looking for new photographs that I can take of cows so that they're mine and they're not copyrighted. And that's the important thing in my industry, that I'm not copyrighting anybody else's work. So I spend a lot of time taking pictures of cows.
Some of the pictures I showed last night at that one of Lance Turner hunting with his dog, that's in several of his pictures, because that's him and his dog, but that's what he then put in with his charcoals to help make his hunting scenes. And so he did that same thing. It's pretty helpful. Anybody else have any triggers for their own creativity? Ron, how do you crank up your creativity?
Most from what I see, and the other is from words. And in the calligraphy, it's looking at different type styles, different fonts, and but lately, the last year or so, when I see a quote or words or something, that sticks in my head, and a lot of times I'll pass them on, but they go in my journal, or I'll if it's on the stream, I'll snap a screenshot of it and have a picture of it to save it for later, and then it's something that I'm going to rework. But it's I would say pictures and words is what does it for me.
How you both mentioned words. What do you mean? How does a word trigger something? What do you talk? Try and flesh that out a little bit further, because I'm not exactly sure what you're saying.
If I see a quote that really just sticks in, I look at it and, oh wow, I like that.
So how it's said, it's a concept, but how it's said really grabs you.
Yeah, and it just it's just like looking at a picture. It grabs your attention. Well, that quote might grab my attention, and then sometimes I'll look at that quote and I can picture a scene behind it. Behind the quote, what the quote means. I can picture a photograph or something behind that quote, even though it's not there.
Something I've been playing with for quite a while in my journal is what I call the rumor religion. And I have a really deep feeling in my heart that the media as a whole, and I'm talking all of the media, both print and television and every one of them, are basically guilty for selling us kind of down the drain, because the media always says, no, it's not us. But all we get from the media is largely really negative slant on everything. If they can take an ordinary story and turn it into a barn burner, they'll do it. We watched that happen with the Ferguson thing, but you couldn't hold not one of the media people accountable. They would not deal with that at all, except when it's this constant barrage, this storm of negativity is basically created and turned into a cyclone for the ratings and for money. They can't sell that time for advertising unless it's really a lot of demand for it. And what we mostly consume is largely pretty negative stuff. And I call it the rumor religion. Do you know how rumor works in small town America? It's probably the hardest thing in my dental career to manage in my little hometown was the rumors of what was going on in your life, not what was really going on. And they'd always come back around. There's some people just can't wait to tell you what they've heard about you, When it first started to be an issue, because I didn't think I'd ever have to worry about that at all, except, whoa, man, and Doug and I are both dentists, and so we're the Jensen Brothers Drilling Company, and I thought it was just clever and cute because our shirts we had embroidered on it, Jensen Brothers Drilling Company, and our whole area is oil and energy gas development, West Texas, basically. And so anyone that knew who we were dentists, then they would see the Jensen Brothers Drilling Company embroidery, and they just think it was clever. It was just kind of a cute little wrinkle. And but there were patients who went nuts. They did not like it. They thought that was just the world's worst thing. And then they would express it to somebody else. It was a rumor. It was not to your face. It was always this backdoor thing. So then, can you imagine what happened when I started carving eggshells? It was just, and to this day, in that little town, most who dare ask will say, "Are you still carving them damn eggshells?" And you know what they thought when I was getting ready to quit. Now, the second I started then to say I was going to retire early from dentistry, then that machinery went into high gear, both with patients and with my family and with everybody. Everybody thought I had just lost my, well, he was crazy anyway, so we're probably good riddance, get rid of him, and that'll be better off. But this rumor religion thing is really kind of captured. It's my spare time thing that I'm just kind of paying attention to. And I'm trying to come up with words that mean the same thing as revenge. It's my feeling that the bottom line, the core of just about every movie done anymore is revenge. And doesn't revenge fuel bullying in school among younger generations? All the video games are centered in revenge and getting even. Getting even. And bullying is getting even. And that's what we're pouring into the minds and heads and hearts of our kids nationwide. And I'm going, you know what? You guys are making millions, all of you. I like Glenn Beck, and I like Sean Hannity, and I like Rush and these guys, but they don't make any money unless they can stir up controversy. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. The Republican and the Democratic war gets gasoline poured into the relationship all the time. Not so we can see how in the hell we can get along with each other and really solve some of our problems. Because of power and money and influence, all the Republicans want to maintain control. But because of power and money and influence, so do all of the Democrats. And who can sit back and not look at the political machinery in the United States and see that it is so alienated and so divisive now and so controversial, because that's what gets you attention in the media. If you can turn, I remember the day we had our only tornado. That's what it was, a tornado in Salt Lake City. Only time it's ever happened. And I was in my vet, headed up to the Capitol to see the governor's office, and I'd just come off the freeway, and my car's brand spanking new, and they said there's 100-inch or 1-inch square hailstones coming at Salt Lake right now, coming across the Salt Lake Desert. And so I just skipped off and went into the covered parking terrace under the Hyatt Hotel, and I just sat there and listened to the news. And I listened to them describe this tornado coming at Salt Lake, and it went right across the KSL television station, and it hit the outdoor convention retailers show. Huge. It's one of the nation's leading outdoor sports marketing shows in the country, but it's an outdoor event. And one of the tents collapsed because of the storm, and somebody got killed by that collapsing of that tent. Now, the second all that happened, the little gal that was on the news at KSL on the radio station she says, I've heard reports as high as 17 people killed. This is the worst thing that's ever hit Salt Lake City. And she just fanned that fire in because she was getting national attention, and she could see visions of becoming this national personality, this talent. And they do it. They all do it. And I just sit and think, oh, I don't know how do we offset that? How do we get it back to a point where it didn't used to be like that? But it is all money and power motivated. I don't think you can get around that at all. So I want you all to watch for any word that has like controversy and revenge. Other words that mean similar things but say it in slightly different ways. And they then become triggers of activity of a collection of
stuff
that I'm really kind of interested in. Do you see that? Now, when you
picture, Lou.
What?
On the broader picture, people would much rather believe a lie than the truth.
Oh yeah. Well, that's how they get away with it. they all say that, well, we're just selling what people consume. If they didn't consume it, then we wouldn't produce those kinds of movies and video games and news programs. And I'm going, well, they're relying on the fact that if you can pick up a rumor, that's why I think the rumor religion's a pretty good word for it, because it really is sold from a different perspective. It's like the old shell game. They're showing you one thing and then picking their money up from something else. Isn't that how it works?
I reckon.
I think I don't know how in the hell, because the second, I mean, everything I've tried to do in my career is promote me, the drill, and all of us as an I&E network and try and make it something. And I need the media to do that. And so, like what's going on in extreme Islam right now.
You're trying to promote a good thing.
Well, I know, but I still need the media. And if I go out and bash them, guess what's going to happen? Suddenly it's going to get really difficult to get any media attention. And so the same thing's going on in the extremist Muslim world. Muslims as a whole, we all know that's not any different as a religion. They have the good parts and the not so good parts, and then all of a sudden these not so good parts, however, they threaten to kill you if you don't join. And that's the only choice you have. And I'm going, so what do you think's going on? Do you think there's a hesitancy in the entire Muslim world to bring up anything really condemning of what the extremist guys are doing? Because they're going, hey, you shot your mouth off on the web and we know who you are, and your history. And I'm going, well, try and be a religion and re-modify the religion at all and deal with that kind of trouble. I just go, how in the world are they going to ever get their religion back? These nutcases have hijacked them completely. And I've watched it in the Mormon church circles. The Mormon religion got a really crazy start, and they're awfully good religion, and they do a good job. But man, there's some extreme elements of the Mormon church that are a little hard to understand and deal with. And I go,
Dr. Lou?
Yeah, Ron.
I looked up the synonym for revenge.
Yeah.
I've got about
10 of them.
Animus. Animus. A-N-I-M-U-S.
Like animosity. Yeah.
Counter blow. Fight. Malevolence. Attack.
Oh, malevolent, like the movie that was just out, huh?
Malevolence. Attack. Counterinsurge. Getting even. Avenging. Counterplay.
Oh, I like avenging.
Avenging. Avengement. Eye for eye. Eye for an eye. Implacability. And repayment.
Just vengeance, period. Vengeance would fit really well with it.
And one more is rancor. R-A-N-C-O-R. Rancor.
Retribution. See, and I think what you do is gradually, if you were doing a new poem, a new verse, Rod, how do you first start into something, and what do you build on? How do you do a poem?
Actually, my way of going about it, I start with the end in mind, just like you've been saying and what Cubby's talks about. I'll get a tagline, something will, it's just like they were talking about seeing a picture or a word. I'll get an idea, like something clever that I think's clever anyway, and I'll start from the end, and then I'll work backwards. I like to use 12 rhyming words. Okay. I'll put them in order, and then I start working the poem.
No, you build out from.
I built from the back.
That's really interesting. I've never heard that before. That is a great idea.
I have a poem about how I do poetry. I'll have to put it up on YouTube.
Okay, post it up. That's kind of what because Craig's starting to teach Lance Larson right now how to do claymation, because what Craig feels like has helped him do his best art is he's gotten really good at doing this fashioning part, what you're talking about with your poem, what I'm talking about with the story, what you do with a new piece of artwork, if you're going to design a piece of jewelry that no one's ever seen before, don't you have to push things all over the place in order to come up with something really new? I mean, if all you're doing is rendering what someone else has done, to me that's repetition. To me that's a replication thing that isn't really your art. I'll get good at the cutting and the carving and the grafting and everything else, that's fine. I don't have any other way to do it. But I don't think you should stay there forever. Because ultimately, when it's your own, like Deb was just talking about earlier, it takes almost nothing for anybody to recognize anymore someone else's work. And there's not only the legal implications, but there's the social business implications that are there too, because you cannot. If you plagiarize someone else's poem, Rod, and you post it on the web, I guarantee you somebody's going to take you apart for it. My grandson's got that new Little Wizard phone, and it can recognize any song. He just turns it on, and it grabs whatever you're listening to, and then it tells you who owns the song and who made the song and when it was made, and this is where to buy it. If the phone can do that quick. And I think they can do it with the pictures too. You can show it a picture. You know that ad on the television that's so cute with that little boy that's buying that house, and the other guys are teasing him because he's finding that house on his phone and it's recognizing it and makes the phone call to the real estate agent, and he's buying this house, and the little girl says, yeah, he's sitting on a pile of cash from a buyout. And I'm going, the world's changing very quickly.
Well, Lou, I don't know if you know it or not, but with Google, on Google Plus, if you take pictures of people and put it on Google Plus, you know, in your album, and it has pictures of people who are in Google Plus who have their pictures on, all you have to do is scroll over it, and it'll identify those people in your picture that are on Google Plus.
Yeah, facial recognition.
Yeah.
And I don't know how good it is yet because I don't use it yet, but I know it's there. And all the public television cameras are all now wired, so they can go find someone in Orlando that's basically a convict, and they're looking for him. The police have tremendous facial recognition software anymore. And that whole television show, that thing that's on, what is it, last night, wasn't it on, or Monday night, Person of Interest, that's all completely about tracking every human being with the computer. And it's sinister as hell with the show that's up on the media all the time. I love watching it. It's very fascinating. But it's already here. It's just, I don't see any way for us. What was the book we read as kids when we were in college that was the Big Brother thing? What was that book called?
1984 with George Orwell.
George Orwell, 1984. Yeah, that was Big Brother. And hell, we're already there. I don't know any way out of it now. Do you? I mean, if you're going to play on here at all, they know more about us than probably we know about ourselves already.
The only way to get out of it is drop off the grid completely.
Completely, yeah. If you're going to play on here at all, they've already got all your information, know everything about you, and I don't think you can hide much anymore. I really don't.
I mean, dump your house, dump your vehicle, dump everything. The only thing you can have is clothes on your back.
And I don't know why you would do that. Maybe, I mean, I don't yet fear the government, but I guess maybe we should, but I don't. I just sit back and go, I still think most
I'm collecting their money.
Most have. I go in and I get my Social Security check now, and I go in and cash it all the time because it's my play money. I love it.
Mine's direct deposit.
I tell them every time this is my Obama play money. So yeah, we got to get a little bit of it back, don't we, Mel?
That's right.
Yeah,
we paid enough for it.
Get some kind of help for that. Yeah, we paid into the kitty for an awful long time. Now, where I've gone with this tonight mostly is looking for what helps you with your own creativity. What do you like the most, and what reinforces that? And do you feel like in the last 5 years you're now more creative in your life or less? Which, and let's go down each one of them.
More creative.
I think you are. No, I really do.
Yeah, I can create all sorts of havoc out of nothing.
And don't we all know that? Don't we all know that?
Part
You're
of that,
famous, Mel, and
Bill's
you're really famous for that. Go ahead, Rod.
I said part of that's due to the medicine that
When
he
you
takes.
When you get time,
It's drugs. That's it. That's the answer to everything.
Hey,
drugs,
my
drugs.
big brother's a drug pusher.
when you get time, I found that poem.
Okay, roll it out, Rod. Let's see what you got.
I called this the Poet's Secret Potion. Poet's Secret Potion, like a metronome in motion, written in rhythm and rhyme, in beat with pendulum time. Close to hand, close to heart. Write what you know best. Be smart. Craft yourself a list. This seems to work out best. Begin poems with the last verse, working it out in reverse. Be yourself, be genuine. Hopefully, critics won't whine. But even if they do, to thine own self be true, and if you get the notion, use this poet's secret potion.
Cool. That is good, Rod. I like that. That is really unique. What a fun angle. Now, what do you do with it when you get it to this point? Do you think it's entirely done, Rod, or could you, with time,
With time, I could.
Even better.
With time, let it incubate, work on it. It can get better.
It felt to me like there were a couple of sentences that didn't flow as well as the rest of it. But I do look at it and say, God, the concept's rich. That's good stuff, Rod, because that's the kind of things that when we're sharing, okay, how many of you got grandkids?
Yeah.
This month's got grandkids. Isn't it just the delight of your life to have a question from your grandkid or a circumstance where you can teach? You can step into that moment a little and lean into it a little bit. I have all these stories that I use to help my own life, but there's some of them that are just perfect timing. And so when you've got a gift that you can share that you know is probably going to light up a child, and isn't that verse kind of there? I've got a couple of my granddaughters now. Wesley's my oldest granddaughter, and she's a writer. She just wants to be a writer. That's all she talks about. And yet I was thinking while you're talking about it, Rod, that would be really good for me to share that verse and your story with Wesley, because maybe the writing is really poetic, or should be. You see what I mean? I don't know if she's even done any of it yet. I don't know if she's even thought of doing it yet. But I like catalytic thinking, which means you plunk something into the mixture that changes the quality of the experiment overall. And that's what I think we do as grandparents. We have the most unusual perspective. We're nearly gone. There's certain moments when I can really touch a grandchild and get them to rethink things a little bit. And Ben's Lance's oldest son, and Ben's just started working for Walmart. He's got his first job. He's had nothing. He's never had to work up to now. And Lance finally just tried to get him to work at the shop. Didn't want to work there very much, so Mickey got him a job working for Walmart. Now, Ben's really shaken by what he's been introduced to, minimum wage and an hourly schedule and how crappy it is to be an employee at Walmart and all this stuff. He's really getting a lot of stuff happening in his life, and I'm actually thrilled. I'm just sitting back going, man, if you don't learn how to work and all you are is just lazy all your life and you spend all your time trying to get out of work, you're not going to have a very good life. you're really, really going to struggle. And what we've done in our family is make things a little too easy for. I spoiled my kids. I just thought that's what you did when you made that money. Then you just spoiled your kids. I gave them every damn opportunity that money could buy. And I thought, okay, that's what we do it for. And I bought the biggest home in the valley, and I was spending money up a kazoo because I had it. And then in a while, as my kids got into that high school era, we had so damn much turmoil in our family. And every one of my kids started getting into trouble that I didn't like at all. So I finally sold the big house and moved into another home. It was still way reasonable, but not excessive like I had. And I really think I saved my kids. I don't think they would have survived the way we were going. And so now to do a better job with the grandkids is quite an issue. We're trying to figure out, okay, now what do we do to help them love them being creative, and I want them to have an option to go in any direction they want to go. But too many people tend to spoil their children, and I'm not sure that's a good thing. Cool. Rod, post that bugger up. Try to find a graph. Find a graphic.
Reality is really harsh when it slams a kid in the face.
Yeah. Well, and I'm more concerned with the addictive thing because their friends are all playing with all this stuff and they act like it's no big deal. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like putting a stick of dynamite in your mouth and lighting it just because everyone else is doing it, and they don't have a clue on how bad things can get, how quickly. And you get addicted, your life just goes into a trash can. Pretty rough go. Damn near nobody gets out of that mess.
Oh, so, is that what we are?
Yeah.
We're addicted.
We're definitely the old message generation, aren't we? Woody called me son all my life. I was 40 years old and he still called me son, and I liked it. To me, it was a term of endearment, and so I enjoyed it. And so I frequently will tell somebody, "Thank you, son. I appreciate your help." And some don't mind it, but a lot don't like it. Wait a minute, I'm an adult here. I'm no longer anybody's son. I'm going, you know, this white hair right here, it's my kids caused
that. The one that's starting to thin out?
Yeah, the thinning white hair. Yeah. That's my kids caused.
I ran into some IDs that I had in the past,
mm-hmm.
With different pictures on them. And it's amazing the transformation over the years.
Oh, your photo ID thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Photo ID.
I don't know if you can see that one too well.
It's a little scary, isn't it? A little scary to see how.
Back in the early 90s.
What's the date today? Oh, it's the 28th. Can you guys all see Mel's? When I click on Mel, his image on my screen goes black completely. I can hear your voice, but I can't see your face.
Really?
You guys all see him?
Yeah, I see me.
So now we see Ron. Ron comes up, and then Rod comes up. Nick comes up.
No, I think Mel's connection is too slow.
Is it slow? That's what's his?
Really?
It's like him. He's a little slow, and Mel's, so it's okay. We understand.
Hey, you know.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody drive that little bus.
Yeah. So did you guys see all of his badges? How many of them you got? What did you show? I couldn't see them.
Okay, what I'm showing basically are, a couple of them here are California vehicle salesperson licenses issued by the state of California.
Okay.
And a couple others here are North Carolina state driver's licenses and the years that have gone in between.
And so there has been some slow aging going on?
I'm not sure whether it's slow or not. Okay.
I bought my sister a card today, and it was Snoopy, and he was talking about not growing old. I'm just mellowing out. So we're all just mellowing out, isn't that?
Okay. That was in the 90s, if you can see that.
90s and then some.
And this one was back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I've been accused of looking like Charlie.
Really?
Charlie Manson.
Charlie, yeah, that fits. That fits. You're a pretty scary dude, Mel.
Nah. But
I'm going to run really quick. You guys keep visiting a second. I got to show you something I just got.
and this one is in the same early 90s era, but clean shaven. And then you have what you have today. But I ran across these the other day and thought, oh my goodness, the different phases one goes through.
Mel, can we see those pictures? Are we supposed to, or is it just strictly?
No, I put them up. I showed them, but let's see if we can.
They're not coming, or at least I don't see them through my screen.
I can't see them either.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to.
I think all any of us forget, Mel, is just basically either your avatar or a black screen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Then, so be it. The electronic age, you didn't want these images out there. That's okay.
It is what it is.
What is your bandwidth set to? There's the bar chart to the right that says adjust bandwidth usage. Where is your set right now?
Maximum.
Try it down a couple clicks. And then...
Well, that's very low.
Oh, that helps. Well, it doesn't look so good on the screen, but I am now seeing on the screen.
That worked. What did you do, Mel? Or Nick, what'd you tell him to do?
Change the bandwidth.
No.
To lower it from the full HD down a couple clicks. Maybe try it up one, see if
it still works. I'll be darned. I wouldn't have thought that would make that much difference.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
how about that? We learned,
picture, but now seeing motion and your picture does pop up.
Yeah, it's there now. Work.
Ah, there.
Oh yes, Charlie Manson, no less. Absolutely.
Well, no, that's clean shaven.
I can see the similarities. Yeah, that was before he went crazy.
But then we have this one.
Oh, yes.
In the same time frame.
And that one.
And this one was in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Why don't you make a poster for the post office and we'll put it up?
I was going to say, I could have sworn I saw that picture today in my local post office.
Yeah, at the post office. That's what I was thinking. That was my first
Probably
thought.
did. You want an autograph?
Yeah, I'll do a composite. I'll do a composite sketch, and we'll say we're looking for this guy. Has anybody seen him?
America's Most Unwanted.
He's wanted in about how many states, Mel? Would you guess? Have you moved on from?
Oh, moved on from?
You've been quite a bit of states around the country. Did any of them pay you to move?
No, but one said I couldn't come back.
Oh, okay. That's good enough. That's a good one.
I've been kicked out of an entire state.
Come highly recommended, huh?
Yeah, neither myself nor any vehicle I own can be within their boundaries for the rest of my life.
So if they arrest you and catch you, you got a warrant already out for you, huh?
No, more than likely, because I kind of told them where to go once upon a time.
Right there. Yeah, that's in Mel's old flamboyant days.
I was on the West Coast, they're on the East Coast, and come catch me if you can.
I can't find it right now on my phone, guys, but I got to tell you what happened. I've got a guy named Dwayne Case that was my neighbor for years as a kid. He was a little older than me, went through high school ahead of me. And his younger brother was one of my best friends, Jerry. And when I started Paragrave out here and then turned into Paragraphics, Dwayne came and worked for me. And he had this just killer audio voice. He does a lot of narration for the Mormon Church, and he records books in his voice that people can audio books and stuff. So he's just an amazing guy. And he worked for me until he retired. And last Friday, he walked into Tammy and he says, I've got an envelope here for Lou, and he needs to look at it fairly soon. So I got it out, and on the 30th, day after tomorrow, August, 50 years ago, was my farewell for my Mormon church mission. All the young boys go on missions when they're 19. And 50 years ago in 2 days was when I did my mission farewell. And he had kept somehow the little handout thing at church that everyone got and told who had done what. And I showed it to my sister, and the picture of me at 19 is a little scary. A little scary. I've been really trying to decide whether I dare even put it up or not, because it's not pretty good. But naive kids, do you remember when you were 19?
Yep.
Yep. We all remember, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And then the stages of our progress. And I think the hard, I've been writing a lot about it lately, is I'm a little concerned because after 70 years, you think I would have learned something. And all I do is think I know less now than I knew at 19.
Well, technology is screaming past us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've given up.
And we're trying to keep up with it, and whatever we buy is already obsolete.
Just hang on. That's all I think people our age can do, is just hang on. I am having fun with it, though. As some of these new toys, you got to admit. Could you imagine, Mel, if we'd have had this little device and this capacity for all the years we've known each other? You
oh
and
my
Nick
goodness!
And Ron. We've been buddies for years and years, but we would have had a way different relationship going. And I think then helping other people, because we don't realize we're doing the show here and mixing, but I am going to figure out how to bring brand new people into a show and begin to show them how to make this work. I've just got to include them somehow.
Oh, gee, when we were kids, computers had vacuum tubes.
Yeah.
And they were as big as buildings.
Yeah.
Now, you've got 32 gig in your hand in a phone that can do pretty much anything.
They posted this week, I don't know if you saw it, was the first functioning light computer was invented in 1947 at Bell Labs. And they give them the credit, and that's in the Bell Laboratory Museum now. And then they had the first electronic switching device, which was the beginning of the computer. It was the first binary switch, and that was made in 1928 or 29, I think. It went way back. And they had both of those images posted. So I picked them off the web and sent them to my boys. And I said, you guys have no idea what happens when it's just a Wilbur and Orville Wright throwing a kite off the cliff in 1910 to where it is now in 100 years. Can you imagine what's happened? How much change?
Well, look at the time span between when Orville and Wilbur Wright did their thing and Armstrong walked on the moon.
On the moon, yeah. Was only 100 years, wasn't it? About?
No, they did it in the 60s.
Not even that far. That's true. It was the 60s when we were sitting on the couch watching them walk on the moon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hell, time flies. How did we get so old?
Time flies.
Is that... The only one here that hasn't aged is Deb. Debbie, you don't ever get any older. Is it that cow country that you live in or the air you breathe? What happens? How come you're not aging, child?
Oh, I'm aging all right. It just doesn't show.
It just doesn't show yet, huh? Well, if you got some magic potion that you rub on there, we ought to come up with a cream that turns you into a.
I'm sorry. My mind went into the
Christy Brinkley kind of person that just has this ageless complexion, right?
Mel was thinking something in the fields. I don't know what he was thinking of, though.
Yeah, well, we don't pass his thoughts on. That's not safe. Not safe at all. Well, I have chewed on about all I want to chew on tonight yet. Anybody got anything more wise they want to put into the mix? Joni, you've been really quiet tonight.
Well,
where does your creativity come from? Or are you just really tired tonight?
I'm very tired for one thing.
Yeah.
I finally, I didn't tell this to everybody, but I had lost the privilege of driving, and my license was suspended about 7 months ago.
Oh yeah.
I have been living a living hell, not being able to go anywhere without having to stop my husband from doing what he's doing or find somebody to drive me.
Yeah.
And so finally, I got the state or whoever it is, Motor Vehicle Bureau, reviewed my case and everything, and it was all a mistake.
Oh my gosh.
A mistake.
So they've reinstated you?
This nurse made this mistake, and I ended up with my license not, being any good. So yesterday, I took the tests to renew my license, and it was quite a test. And I've studied, I'd venture to say, at least 80 pages of writings and things I got off the computer and all that sort of thing. But I passed with flying colors. I have got my license back in my hand.
Oh, that's got to be fun for you.
Yeah.
You got your regenerated, renewed life, Joni. You should have a lot of. That's amazing.
But I had my other license, the one that they took back. The view of me, the picture of me on that, and then just over a few clicks on the camera, and then my new license shows a different person. I think someone else got older.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well, you should come to Utah and take your driver's license renewal test, because here, if you walk in and you're breathing, that's all they need.
Oh, really? No, not here.
Yeah, Utah's the easiest state in the union to get a driver's license, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I put on the last time I had to go in and actually do the written test, you only got to do that every 5 or 10 years or something. The last time I had to go in, I filled out all the paperwork, and I put brown hair in. So I put my size and weight and my eye color, and then I put brown hair in. I walked up to the desk, and she said, "Sir, your hair is not brown any longer." And I went, "Oh, yep, you're right. I forgot. I've aged before my time." It's hanging out with Tamarie. Hanging out with Tamarie is what messed with my white hair. I guarantee it. It's just
high-speed life.
Drive me crazy. That's exactly what it is. You've been quiet, J-Bull. Where does your creativity come from?
I think a lot of mine comes from emotion.
Emotion.
That determines a lot, on how I feel, what kind of emotions I've got going. Determines a lot on what I do and how I do it.
So that post that says it's really smart to wake up and have a really great positive thought every morning early.
That really fits.
Influence your day a little, does it?
Oh yes. As long as I can sit on my front porch and have my first cup of coffee and watch the sun come up, I'm good to go.
Yeah, good to go. When we have trouble with someone that's bought our kit or equipment and they are just a handful in problems, they end up with me. So that's why all of you end up with me all the time. You're all problem kits, When I have that, and I have someone that's really wrestling, and I try and sense if it's the equipment or if it's their personal life. Because something's not working and then they're really unhappy or they're upset. And often I can sort it out a little. I try and build a relationship with them first, trying to get to a friendship where I can start to discuss the more critical issues in life, because that's usually what's going on. And when a person's life is a mess, almost always they have lousy beginnings of every day. And then the day just goes from bad to worse. And if I can see that, or if I can help them see it, that it's really you control how you get up every day. You really do. And your attitude and how your days begin really do determine kind of how the day generally goes. And I think, well, if you could have, we talk about this early in the year, every year on the webinars, if you could create one perfect day now, between now and the time you're dead and gone, you had one more absolutely perfect day from the moment you woke up till you took your last breath and went to sleep at night. What would you do with that day? Now that's a kind of a paradigm. It's a pattern. You're looking for, well, if I had no obligations and money wasn't the way, I'd do this, this, and this, this, and this, and this. And that should start to give you some clues. That should be reinforced by the things you stick into your journal. Because you don't put anything into your journal that's not a preference. It's something you like and care about. And if you cultivate that journal, you'll begin to say, these are the colors I like. These are the smells that I like. These are the words that I like. These are the friends and the people that I like. And if you're going to make a perfect day, you want to fill it up with mostly that these are your personal preferences. And if you could do one day that way, could you maybe do a week? One whole week from now till you die, 1 week that was just freaking perfect. And then if you could do that, could you maybe fashion out a whole month where you largely control the negatives and you reduce the negatives and up the positives, and you would have one whole month that was just unbelievably grand. And then you literally can do that. And if I can help someone begin to see the possibility, instead of getting up every morning and just taking whatever comes, you go to bed at night thinking about how the day's going to be tomorrow, and you start it off as good as you possibly, the things that would light it up well, get it started better than normal, and then make that day your own. Instead of all the stuff that happens that raises hell with every day, because we all have that, you find a way to get past that and still control the day.
I have been reading, I'm getting ready to go into my third book of Norman Vincent Peale. And some of his philosophies and thoughts and everything are just outstanding. And it really does help with what some of the things he says and what have you. And it'll get you in the mood like you're talking about in the morning when you wake up. You're not, the first thing you're thinking of is, oh gosh, here I got to do this today, and I don't really want to do it, and fight it. Instead, you start looking forward to a beautiful...
Start the day on a different basis, absolutely. And I think that if you took a different section of motivational people and motivational thoughts, some things that some motivators write, I don't care for. But others say it in a way, isn't it like a great poem? Some poems and poets just really hit me hard, and then others don't hit at all.
Yeah.
And so you are the one that controls that. You know which ones you prefer. So start your day with the things that you prefer. Yeah, he was the first really great one, wasn't he?
Oh, yes.
Pretty hard to get past his thinking.
He's really good. Really
stuff. All right. Any other comments? Any other contributions?
Dr. Lee, I got something to share.
Okay, Rod, go ahead.
I found something that I hope this would help your granddaughter. It's called Be Your... I didn't write this. It's a devotional by Holly Girth. Be yourself. There's never been and never will be another you. That means the bravest thing you can do is to be who you already are. Because it's safer to be like someone else, it's easier to hide. It's simpler to say, I'm not good enough, and walk away. But we need you, friend. We need your gifts. We need your strengths. We need your smile. When you are who you're created to be, you become a mirror of the heart of the one who made you. The enemy of your soul will try to tell you to change who you are, because he would love to interfere with that reflection. Say no, my friend. No to comparing. No to competing. No to copying. Instead, open your heart, spread out your wings, lift up your head, and live with divine confidence. You have much to offer. You are a one-of-a-kind original. No one can ever be better than you at being you. Say yes, my friend. Yes to boldness. Yes to beauty. Yes to being who God made you. Say that yes with all your heart for all your life. Speak it with everything you do and all that you become. Because one of the very best ways to change the world is by refusing to change who God created you to be.
Very good.
That's by
good.
That's by Holly
good wisdom.
Holly Girth. Holly
Yeah.
Girth.
All right.
Thank you.
Put that in an email and send it to me, or send it to me private post,
Okay.
Rod. It was so hard when we were at the 4th of July. I think I mentioned it because Wesley and I got to stay together that night, and I've not spent a whole evening with her for years. And her mother had just recently told her that she should knock off all this writing crap, that she needed to become an attorney or a physician or something so she could make a good living. And I was so discouraged to hear that. I'm going to come in our family, that should never show up in our circle. And I don't want to disrespect Mom and her choices, but I just go, don't do that to my granddaughter. That just can't happen. And that's exactly what she needs to hear, Rod. That is exactly that. She's a bright little gal. Gosh, she's amazing. She's got her first book already done, published. It's out there. I'm going to just keep going. She's going, I'm running. She says, I can't get that creativity juices going again, Grandpa. And I says, that's because you're wrestling with too much ordinary life. We got to do some things that get the fires burning and keep it burning. I think that's important. Anything else from anybody? That was fun, Rod. Thank you for throwing that in on the end of the evening. I think that's something we could all go to sleep with tonight.
You're welcome.
None of us have got our job.
I do.
None
I
of
got a
us.
little something.
Okay, throw it.
It's about words.
Okay.
Words cause emotion. Emotion triggers thought. Thought sparks imagination. Imagination turns into creativity. Creativity becomes art.
Wow. Oh, wow. Do I like that? Oh, that is
Nice.
good. Oh, that is really good. That is really good, Mel.
Yeah, just
Post
one step at a time.
One step at a time. That's all it takes.
And I've been known to trigger all sorts of emotion.
Yes, I bet you have. Don't you all sense that if Mel ever does a tell-all autobiography, it's going to be a ripper? It is really going to be hilarious. I will enjoy reading that.
That will have chapters left out.
I'll bet. I was just going to say that for all of us that ever get around to doing an autobiography, we are all pretty good friends now, but isn't it interesting how most of us don't know most of our lives, really? We really don't know a whole lot about each other, even still. And when you look at that part, because that's the real side of Lou Jensen, that's who I really am.
We
try
have
to
our
be,
public face and we have our private face.
try to be a better person than I probably really am. And it's always interesting to say, well, in my upbringing, both from my scouting days and from my church days, it was mostly the best thing you can do with your life is be as close to who you wish you were as to who you really are. The further those two entities get apart, the more trouble you're likely to have in your life. And so always has mattered to me a great deal that I'm presenting more on the side that's helpful rather than the side that might hurt somebody. So hope that's how it's working out. We're sure having fun with it anyway. Anything more out of you, Schneeberger?
No, I'm just listening.
Soaking it in tonight. All right, my friend. You keep working hard on your book. That's going to be
Yep.
great. Nick, you got anything of wisdom now to throw into the mix before we shut her down?
Well, maybe given what talk with Ron yesterday, what we had, bring it up. The concern that journals online can disappear.
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah. That's something we really do need to consider.
maybe making printouts or creating hard copies of those pages.
I don't know how else to do it. I don't know how to actually copy and grab it off of there either.
Ron, you were saying there's
In other
maybe
words,
a program.
how could you copy every post? Huh?
Well, there's a I don't know if it's a program or something. It's called Takeaway, and if you Google it, and it's supposed to be, I didn't get into it yet, but it's supposed to be that with a few clicks you can take all everything that you have posted on
Put it
Google
on pull it off and put it in the hard drive.
transfer it to your computer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it hadn't dawned on me when I went in to talk to that guy about the editing I've been doing right now, and my computer had the virus on it, and he was talking to me about it as he cleaned everything up. He says, really ought to have 3 copies of things that really matter. So all my video footage, I'm having a lot of my old stuff converted now so that I can start throwing it out here and there. And I guarantee you, the show I do of the video footage when I started 35 years ago is going to be scary. It was so bad. It was just terrible. But I'm doing another show that I'm preparing on how my drawing has progressed, because my early drawing was just ridiculous too. And Keith and I laugh all the time. I watched him burn up more early carvings than you can ever imagine in the fireplace, because he said, I don't want anybody to see that. That's not good enough. But we all start there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We all start on the soft end of the scale and then move forward. But until Ron called last night, I hadn't even thought about losing my digital journal is just massive already, and I would die if it's my favorite thing to do is to throw something I found on the web over into my journal. So
you got Snagit, don't you?
yeah, I got the Snagit. That's all right. I could do it that way. I could literally.
When are you going to teach us how to snag it? I remember way back when you had said you.
We talked about it.
Yeah,
Well,
about
maybe
snagging it.
I've just downloaded my new copy of Camtasia. I got an update on it. And Camtasia is a little expensive as software, but it's designed to grab off the web anything. So most of the YouTube videos are actually being made with Camtasia. That's why I bought it. And they've got now a way, they've got a new thing called Fuse, so you can literally fashion a video off your phone, just using your phone, and throw it right up on YouTube. And so I need to do that. I did mention that to you, Joni, and it's really such a fun. How many of you are using a Snagit like screen capture? Almost all of you. Yeah, it's really fun way to go. So I think, did you buy it, Joni, yet? Did you buy the software yet?
I wasn't sure of what I was doing. So
Okay, I think it's about still about $50, isn't it? Unless you find a sale on it. I would be really cautious about buying it from somebody else. So let me see if I can't show you how to use it first, and then maybe I can get a purchasing license for all of us, because it's just hell on wheels. It's so great to use. I use it up the storm.
I know I've seen so many things at times that I thought, wow, that is good. I wish I could and I try to write it down fast enough or something, and it just.
How many of you text message? How many of you use the text messaging with your family? I think we could text message with as many as we want, can't we? I mean, it's just as pervasive as email or anything else, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I send Tammy individual pictures that I know she would really like, and we're trying to shove those into her journal. And what's really fun is as you get to know your style and your preferences more, you also begin to get a feel of your companion and your partners and friendships and your family. And I see a picture and I go, oh, God, that's Lance. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And, oh, this would be great for Ryan, and, oh, this would be great for Tam and her kids. And so you kind of get a feeling for graphic images. They really do have 1,000 words. An image is just an amazing way to pass on a concept or a thought. And so that's what this new digital journal really represents. It's like a mirror on your own preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Really valuable. I've been doing it since January, and oh my gosh, I love it. I get discouraged and I have any trouble, that's where I go, is right to my journal.
Yeah.
Fires my life back up every time. So, okay, gang, good enough. I can hear the steak is calling me tonight.
Well, you know, as far as texting goes, I'm
okay.
fairly successful at telling everybody my fingers are too big.
That's a good answer, Mel. That's a way out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my phone, if you had a Samsung, you'd have an S Pen, and then you don't have an excuse because you don't have to use your big fingers.
Well, for blind people, I mean, you know, got to have the big numbers. I guess that'll work.
Yeah, that'd be
You
great.
just need a bigger phone.
Bigger phone. Get one like Nick's got.
No, I'm happy with mine. I can start my truck with it.
Okay.
What more do you want?
Oh, isn't that great? That's so damn phenomenal. Tammy got Google Fiber installed at the company day before yesterday, so she's got the hottest, newest, latest internet connection on the planet now.
Cool.
And they've selected Salt Lake and Kansas. Isn't that where you are too, Rod? Haven't they done Google Fiber with you out there too? They're doing Kansas City and Provo, I think. There's 37 cities that they've targeted. And so Tammy's now got the latest and greatest internet fiberglass connectivity stuff.
Yeah, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Gonna be fun. Good times coming. Good times coming. Thank you for all that you participate, brought to the show. Appreciate you sitting down. Debbie, don't you dare go back to work, child. You take a little time for yourself and rest up. I'm worried about you.
I have to get at it tomorrow.
Okay, that's good. You can do it tomorrow, but today, chew on the thoughts that you had tonight, because they're good ones. And
Okay.
as you chew on them, a few of them you can swallow, the good ones, and then that's then going to help. Okay?
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Great to
Good night,
have
guys.
another session. Appreciate
Good night,
your
Phil.
time. Catch you later.